Hi, this is David Filippo, the left-handed right-winger again. And I want to try again today, do another less political topic, since it seemed like I had kind of fun with the Back to the Future one. And when I post it, I'll see how you guys liked it. I haven't quite seen it yet, but I thought I'd do this one about the TV show Breaking Bad, which this is probably, I think, my favorite TV show of all time. Which is interesting for me, because I always typically was a biggest fan of sitcoms. Like before Breaking Bad came along, it came along in 2008. I didn't catch it until 2012, and more on how I came into a little bit. But my favorite show of all time before that was Married with Children. You know, the story of the Bundy family and their antics throughout their 11-season spin. And before that, even though I wasn't alive for it, but I've since seen it, I really like, was All in the Family. You know, there's no story of the Bunker family, and typically Archie Bunker and his antics throughout the run, even into Archie Bunker's place. Those are just were the top two shows of mine for the longest time. And then, of course, you know, eventually we may talk about shows like Family Guy, South Park, The Office. Okay, we're kind of going down the line of my list of shows, but those are some of my favorites. Like I said, typically the sitcoms. Breaking Bad struck me as interesting because when I first heard about it, you know, typical, and I'll say in advance, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen it, you really should see it. I'm hoping you've seen it by now. But in case there is anything that might be spoiling to people, I'm going to just let you know now. You know, probably turn this off unless you haven't seen it. But I will say now, make sure you go and see it because it's really, really worthwhile. But what happened was, when I first heard about it, I said, you know, it's a guy who, you know, he has cancer. He's going to go become a drug dealer in the drug industry as a way to relieve it. It didn't interest me on it in and of itself. It sounded typical, kind of had an idea where the plot was going, at least I thought, and just like, it didn't seem interesting to me. So I wrote it off and just ignored it and said, it's a silly show. My wife, you know, happened to come across it on Netflix, and I'd say about 2012. So it was already a good couple seasons. And she started watching. And I was like, okay, you're watching it, fine. And I just did something else, and just kind of, but I kept overhearing it in the background, and there were scenes and parts that happened that I was like, wow, this is interesting. This is funny. And I kept kind of turning my, you know, I was like doing something on my laptop off in the corner, and I kept turning around and saying, what is this? What is this all about? And it was just some amazing stuff. It was funny. It was interesting. They had some plot. And I finally talked, hey, let's it's on Netflix. Let's go back to the beginning. Let's watch this through. And we wound up watching it all the way through the first 4 seasons. And we were anxiously waiting because we heard there was a 5th season that just ended when we started watching it. And so finally that 5th season opened up, and we were able to watch that first half of the 5th season. And then finally, of course, we watched the last other half of the 5th season too, right at the end. So we didn't really get to watch the way most people did on television because we saw it all on Netflix. We only really watched the last season on regular television. But it was incredible, and you know, Bryan Cranston as Walter White. It's an intriguing character. You kind of get the whole idea. Yeah, you can kind of relate to it. I mean, again, it's like one of those shows, and that's what I like with all the shows, is that you can find a way to relate to these people, kind of feeling in their moment, you know, where you may not have made the decision, but you could see why they made the decision, and you kind of feel in the same space with them, and you kind of feel for it. Kind of get a feel for the Jesse Pinkman character too. You can kind of feel yourself in his way. And what's going on in the story for him, and it's just some really, you know, bone-chilling moments. I don't like to give spoilers. I said there might be some spoilers, but like when Jesse kind of had to go and kill the essentially Bennigy, who was going to or Benniger is the guy's name, but the other guy that was in the lab that was going to essentially replace Walter White, and you know, and Gus Fring was going to have him off. So he sent Jesse to go kill him, and of course the guy's a nice guy, and he's like on it, but he knows he has to kill him because then, you know, the Gus Fring is going to go after, of course, Walter and eventually him to kind of silence him. So it's like one of those moments, like, holy cow, you know. And then you kind of see the scenes of like friendship where Gus is sending some of his guys after Jesse, and he, you know, and Walter White just runs him over with his, and then Aztec, and just says, run. And and that's the end of it. And there's just these great moments that you can kind of see, where you can kind of see the heart. The heart where it's this horrible situation is. You can see deep down where the emotions come in, and we all kind of have those moments where we do something that seems rash, but we do it deep down, at least somewhat for ourselves but in the end, somewhat for the right reasons. We have reasons why we do things, and right or wrong, we have reasons why we think they're right. And it's just a nice show following it through, and it's one show I could probably watch again and again, just because the characters are so compelling, the story is so compelling. And another show I forgot to mention too that I'm really big fan of, which I didn't think I was going to be a fan either for the same reason, and that's The Walking Dead. I kind of wrote that off as a show that, zombie movie, it's got to be the same sort of thing I've seen, like the Night of the Living Dead and that sort of thing, which is a great movie, by the way. Another great movie, you should see Night of the Living Dead, especially the original from 1968, George Romero. But with The Walking Dead, it's just kind of the same idea, where it's like, it's a typical thing, but again, that's what my wife was really into. She's into that stuff, and I started overhearing it, like, this is good. And of course, now every week, every Sunday, I'm watching it. There are some concerns, with the 8th season. Like, I hear a lot of people don't like it, and now it's kind of changed. And the whole, I didn't mention it up now, but the whole character of I can't think of the character's name. Is the big thing of it now. I can think of the club. He's got the club named Lucy. Why can't I think of the guy's name? Oh man, this is gonna kill me. And he's played by why can't I think of it? Negan, of course, Negan, the guy. He's probably, like, in my opinion, and I did a list of this, and I could probably do more video on it. Probably the worst movie villain of all time. Gus Fring is up there from the Breaking Bad, but Negan, it just tops them all. He's just awful. But in short, though, kind of come back to Breaking Bad. What works so well with Breaking Bad is that, like I said, the characters, the plot, and the fact that I didn't really know, and it's interesting for me because it's something that I had no interest in from the get-go, because it seemed like, this is weird. I really hope, especially now they got the Better Call Saul going, which I haven't seen yet. I want to kind of wait for that to go through, and then I'm going to watch it. I really hope they do find some piece that connects the Breaking Bad series with the Walking Dead series. I know there's some people that are kind of on the fence, but they keep doing little spoilers in the Walking Dead that kind of lead to the idea that maybe there is a connection. I don't know if there is, but there might be a connection. It'd be very interesting if there was a connection. I'd like to see it. It'd be kind of cool, because they keep finding little bits and pieces, how it would work and how it could be connected. I know Andrew Lincoln, who plays, of course, Rick Grimes' character, says, don't ruin Breaking Bad by connecting it to The Walking Dead. I'm like, no, it's not going to ruin it. It's going to make it more awesome. I mean, I know there's some hype against, people to get sick of franchises, or they don't like the way franchises are done. I feel like if the bigger the franchise, and if it can be done right, is really good. And if, they were to combine these series and essentially make it a bigger, Breaking Dead, the Breaking Dead, franchise between the two, because you got the Better Call Saul, you got Breaking Bad, you got the Fear the Walking Dead, which admittedly I couldn't get into. I wasn't interested in the characters at all. I really hope they find a way to kind of connect those series together better, so they're much more interesting. But that could be another piece of that puzzle. And then it ends with The Walking Dead, so you have this long saga, of series between the two. 4 series in the end, if you really think about it, between Better Call Saul, Breaking Bad, Fear the Walking Dead, and of course The Walking Dead. It's kind of interesting to see it all pieced together. So anyway, those are my thoughts on those. Like I said, great shows. If you haven't seen them, I hope you didn't feel finding that information I just gave kind of spoiling on the subject, but it's really a great series, and I encourage you to watch it. Really good. Yeah. So, anyway, talk to you later.